Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to another video. I was recently gifted some paint pens from the brand Artistro, and I thought that I would share them with you guys and do a little review video and do some swatching. And then after doing the swatching, I thought I'd demonstrate me using them in an illustration just so you guys can see them in context. Although these paint pens are gifted, I haven't been asked to make a video or make any content or anything, and all the opinions that I will share in this video are my own, and I'm going to be really honest about them and just share my experience using them with you guys. I guess starting off with the positives would be a good thing to do. The first thing is that the colour selection is really lovely. The colours are super vibrant and pretty, and they have a real variety of colours in there. They've got some nice shades of pink, which is always a win for me. I would prefer if they had some slightly more pastel-y shades, like some lighter shades, because I feel like most of the shades that are in this set are like mid-tones to darker tones. We have got a pale beige and a white, but I would prefer to have had some slightly more pastel-y colours. But overall the colour selection is pretty good, and the colours are really pretty. The second positive I wanted to share was that they're really versatile. These pens can be used on metal, glass, ceramics, porcelain, wood, rocks, stone and paper, so they're really versatile. They can be used on loads of different surfaces, which is really great because they can be used for so many different projects. You're not just limited to using them on paper, which is really nice. And then the final positive that I wanted to share was that they layer really nicely over other materials. I've experimented a little bit with them layering over gouache and coloured pencils, and they just layer so nicely. There's no issue with them losing any vibrancy or kind of blurring with other colours or anything. They actually layer really well, so that's a really nice positive, especially because I usually work in mixed media, so I like my materials to be able to mix in well with each other and layer on top of each other well and stuff, so that was a really good positive. So moving over to the negatives, you might have noticed as I've been swatching that you really do have to shake them well. I did cut out a lot of me shaking them because that footage would have been so boring for me to include. But yeah, you really have to shake them. I'm not really super familiar with paint pens, so I'm not really sure what's the norm when it comes to how much you have to shake them, how easy they are to activate and everything when you first buy them. But yeah, you really do have to shake these well. So as long as you shake them well, they're okay. But it's a bit of a frustrating, annoying step to have to do every time you want to use the pen. And kind of linked to that, I briefly touched on it, is they're really hard to activate. So when you first get them, you have to shake them and keep kind of pumping them to get the paint to flow through. But some of the pens, it took me ages, and I actually had to get Matt to help me to do it because some of them, the ink was just not going to budge. So that was a real pain and hindrance and frustration. The ease of using them for the first time wasn't great, it wasn't really there. So that was definitely a negative for me. Another negative is that the nib is incredibly scratchy. The size of the tip is extra fine, so I was aware that they were going to be detailing pens. They weren't going to be for, filling large areas. But even with finer tipped pens, I would expect a kind of enjoyable experience in terms of the tactility and feeling of them. And yeah, the nib is just so scratchy and really too firm. I would prefer a little bit of give and a little bit of a bit more of a kind of brush tip. And that's just my personal preference. Maybe some people like the feel of these pens, but yeah, they're just really scratchy. And because of the scratchiness and the firmness of the nib, I noticed that they were actually pulling up some of the tooth of the paper, so that it was ending up just fraying and bobbling and things. So yeah, that wasn't great because then that affected the illustration. And then the final negative I wanted to share was that there is pretty poor ink flow in some of the colours. Some of them I had no issues at all with the ink flow, but then there was some particular pens that the ink flow was just really bad. So the ink would just like flow out really, really quickly and easily, and then it would just stop and be really scratchy, and then like you just would have a really poor level of coverage on a certain area of line, and then you'd have to go over the line again, which makes it look more messy and wobbly and stuff. And yeah, I wasn't vibing with that, I'll be honest. But overall, these pens are pretty decent for the price point. I think I might have forgotten to mention earlier, but the price point of these pens is £14.99 on Amazon, so they're pretty cheap, and I feel like for what they are and like for the price point, they're pretty decent. Would I buy them myself? No, to be honest with you. I wouldn't want to spend my money on these pens. I'm very grateful to have been gifted them, and I will be using them, but I definitely wouldn't buy them myself, knowing how they perform, which is a shame. I did have slightly higher hopes for these pens, but it is what it is, and I will definitely be using them and getting as much use out of them as I can. But yeah, do your own research. If you like the sound of the pens and the negative points that I've shared aren't such a big deal for you, then I think you would like these pens. But yeah, I hope you guys have found this useful and informative and helpful. Maybe if you're thinking about purchasing from Artistro, yeah, I hope this has been helpful and insightful. This is actually like the first review video that I've ever done, so if you'd like to see more reviews from me for art supplies and stuff, then let me know, because I actually really enjoyed doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching the painting process. I had a lot of fun creating this illustration, and yeah, like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and if you'd like to see more from me, and I shall see you guys in 2 weeks time for another video.